Well, hello there. It's your girl, Shawn Brinkley, and I am a comeback champion. Today, I want to talk to you about how you can become a comeback champion. My belief is that every setback is a setup for the comeback waiting for you to come to it. So let's get started talking about your six-pack champion workout. And I'm going to give you 6 steps to your success. So I've had my share of setbacks. And because of that, I've had the opportunity to have more than one comeback. That's what makes me a comeback champion. So I'll start out by telling you a story about the biggest setback that I had to come back from. So when I was in my early 20s, I was an aerobics instructor and a dance instructor working with kids. And I went to a school to teach dance one day. And I took the taxi like I always did. But this time, the taxi driver must have thought I was a tourist because he took me everywhere but where I wanted to go. When I got out of the taxi, before I got out, I actually paid him, but I did not give him a tip. Well, he was not happy about that. And after saying a few choice words and calling me some names I shall not repeat, he took off when I was getting out. And he dragged me 2.5 feet. And the back wheel of that taxi rolled over my leg. Well, that wasn't good. And so I came to in an ambulance, and from there, I was in the hospital for 30 days in traction. And when I came home, I wasn't able to walk unassisted. I was in a wheelchair. From there, I was on crutches. Well, needless to say, the workout queen couldn't work out. The workout queen gained 100 pounds in a year and a half. Now, besides being the queen of working out, I was also a former beauty queen, and I had won several pageants. So imagine my distress when my bathing suit ready body went to being 100 pounds heavier than I was accustomed to. Yeah, that was quite a setback. Well, the story's not over because shortly after that, well, at least a year and a half after that, I began to lose weight, started working out, and a friend came to town to visit and we went shopping. And on the way home from the shopping, we decided we would go to dinner at my favorite restaurant in New York City. Only we were hit from behind by a truck, and our taxi was pushed into a pole in front of that restaurant. Another setback. Well, I got better and I started working out again. And not only was I working out, I was helping full-figure women work out in their homes. And before going to my appointment with my client, I went to Harlem to get my hair braided. And wouldn't you know that as I was leaving and crossing the street, I was hit by a truck. And I was knocked up in the air and landed flat on my back with the last thing hitting being my head. And I was left unconscious. Well, thank God for the one man who saw this happen and ran to stop the traffic because the light had changed the block before me. Well, that time I had short-term memory loss along with further injuries to my back and body. And then I found myself eating again to suppress the depression that I didn't even know existed. Because I'm generally a happy girl. And so I smiled and ate my way back into another 100 pounds. Now, that third setback really changed my life because it took some time before I could find what I needed to work my way back. I had to find my resilience. So I'm going to share my slides with you now to help you understand what it took for me to get to where I am today, a comeback champion. Your six-pack champion workout for success. So the first thing I want to ask is, are you ready to work out? Because your 6 steps are going to begin with your warm-up, the build, which is where you find your resistance. Oh, and then you got to get in there and get the grind going because it's not easy. And you have to redefine everything that you know. And that's where you'll find your rejuvenation. And then comes the sculpting. And after that sculpting, as you work those muscles to get back to your comeback, you will be in the transformation stage. And from there comes your reinvention. So you gotta get that 6-pack. So you have to work hard. Look at my brother. He is working those abs to get that 6-pack. The next thing you have to do is your warm-up. So the warm-up consists of your mindset shift. You have to first come back to your journey by changing your mind. You have to dissolve those limiting beliefs. You know how we start to believe that we can't? You start to believe that you don't deserve. Those are those limiting beliefs that will keep you caught in the residuals of that setback. You have to focus on the change. You have to believe that change is even possible. And then that's all you set your sights on. And you have to shift from the doubt that says, maybe this is not possible. Oh, but it is. And so you have to change your mind. Focus on that change. Shift from the doubt and invoke the trust in you. Now, the next step is the build, and that equals the resilience. This is where you bounce back. You have to work those muscles to build. And you have to work until you're at the capacity, then you take a breath and you rest, only to start over the next day. When your resilience kicks in, it strengthens your resolve. But when you have a setback, sometimes we want to hold on to that negativity, to that thing that kept us from moving forward. And you just have to let that go. You have to let that go in order to push forward. Now, the hard work is in the grind. This is the third step. The hard work is in the grind. But you see how when you do those squats with weight on, you feel like you cannot get back up when it seems that you have nothing left. You absolutely have to do it again. And you have to push yourself past your limits when it seems like there's nothing left in you and you want to give in to the negativity and the difficulty, and you want to buy in to those lies that say that you can't. You must dig deeper. Now, that fourth step is the redefine, and that is where you'll find your rejuvenation. That's when you have to sometimes just be still and go inside to redefine what shows up on the outside. And I don't necessarily mean just the physical outside, because it's what's inside that gives you the glow and the light that shines from within, that lets you know that you are coming back. It lets the world know that you are better than okay, that you are great. And you have to believe that in order to come back from a setback. You must be mindful. And that simply means being present, being focused on the here and the now, and not what happened before, and not what might happen in the future, because your future is bright. You have to work your mind, your body, and your spirit in this rejuvenation phase. This is where you redefine the past, because you might have believed that your past, the negative, the setback, the hurt, the pain from your past, you might have believed that that was what your future would look like. But I'm here to tell you that is not your truth. The sculpting phase is the 5th step, and you must re-sculpt yourself. The process of sculpting is to create or represent something by carving, casting, or using other shaping techniques. So you have to create the new you in this phase. This is when you have to really dig deep to redefine those muscles that you're building to create the new you. You have to carve a new path so that you can walk into your future with the strength that God gave you from the beginning that you might have forgot existed inside of you. You have to cast yourself into a masterpiece. Because, you know, some of our stories from our past may make us think that we are unworthy, that we are undeserving. Oh, but that is not your truth. You indeed are a masterpiece, and you have the tools to carve yourself and cast yourself as a new masterpiece. Because that's what the resilience that lives inside of you, that ability to bounce back, that is how you build your masterpiece, by tapping in to that very resilience. And you reshape your habits. If your habits have been to focus on your negative thoughts, if your habits have been to sit on the couch moaning about what has happened to you, you know, 2020 has not been my favorite year, but it has been a year that has challenged me to dig deep, to reach inside, to develop the momentum that I and you will need to go with force and that momentum behind you into this coming year of 2021. You know, there have been many, many lies that have been told to us this year, right? That we might not get through this pandemic, that having to wear masks and that having to stay in place, shelter in place, stay at home. Maybe some of you have lost your jobs. Maybe some of you have lost some of the time that your hours on your job, thereby impacting your income. Maybe being alone at home and not being able to connect with your community and your network has caused you a setback. But I'm here to tell you that you are a beautiful sculpture waiting to be sculpted into that masterpiece that we spoke about before. So there should be nothing that gets in your way, that stops you from being able to move out of those negative thoughts, those negative experiences that want to keep you in setback mode. and keep you from becoming the comeback champion that you were born to be, that God created you as. Now, the sixth step is the transformation. And out of that transformation comes your reinvention. A reinvention that you create. It's your choice. A transformation is a thorough and dramatic change in form or appearance. And so to get to your six-pack, you can unzip that lie that you've been living, that tells you that you can't, that tells you that you're not enough, that tells you that you don't have what it takes to transform, to get past this, to get through this. Because you know, when you come through something, you have to exercise those muscles to get through it. Have you ever seen a lotus flower? A lotus flower is a flower that begins, its beginning of its existence is in the mud. And as it works its way through that mud, day by day, and it surfaces, it blossoms into this beautiful flower. And that's you. You get to do that. In order to do that, you must change your vision so that there is clarity in your focus as you focus on what it takes to become the new you, to reinvent yourself. You have to change your attitude and have an attitude of gratitude, because that's what will sustain you on your journey. You have to make a change in your plans, because sometimes our plans, well, they don't come to fruition the way that we thought they would. But I'm here to tell you that God has a plan to prosper you and not to harm you. And with that plan, you can move forward with power and presence. You can change your who you are-ness. Now, I, like my grandmother, like to make up words. So when I talk about your who you are-ness, I talk about the core of who you are. And if you look there at my slide, you see the core. That is from where you blossom, from where your strength comes. My trainer tells me that I have to have a strong core. And from that core, I can do anything. I have good balance. I have good presence and posture. And from that core, Yolanda Martin Fitness tells me that I am strong. From your core comes your strength. And from your strength comes your who you are-ness. I invite you to step into your who you are-ness. That is who God made you to be before you ever met a setback, before you ever met an obstacle, before anything got in your way. I am here to tell you that you can transform into your reinvention. There are so many things that want to keep us from becoming that comeback champion that we are meant to be. And I am telling you today, with everything in me, that there in you is everything you need to become a comeback champion. In fact, know that you are a comeback champion. After I made it through all of those setbacks, don't think I didn't have any more. But I'm here to tell you that now I laugh in the face of adversity, because I have built my muscles, because I know that I have done the work as a comeback champion, and I have found my six-pack. I invite you to work out until you get yours. Now, It's your girl, Shawn Brinkley, and I am telling you, you are a comeback champion, and today is your January 1st. Work it out, y'all.